I'm a big fan of unmanned aerial vehicles. I'll admit, they kind of freaked me out when they first hit the scene, especially with how so-called drones were being used over in Afghanistan. But those weren't the quadcopters that you can go to the local toy store and buy. Those were very sophisticated, almost jet-like, precise flying apparatus. But when you talk about drones, a lot of people think about what maybe your kid has, a small little quadcopter with a camera on it. Megan and I have used our drones to go to Iceland and capture some amazing scenes with us in frame. It's pretty neat stuff. But there's concerns, and have been for years, about how drone technology could be utilized by law enforcement, and in particular how drone technology may be used to surveil, but you can also see how such technology could be instrumental in helping investigate or helping during certain emergencies. So these are some of the things that state lawmakers are expected to take up in the days and weeks ahead. It is the WMAY morning news feed. I'm Greg Bishop. Let's talk now with the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police Executive Director Ed Wojcicki, who the group put out a statement yesterday saying that they understand some of the concerns about unwarranted surveillance with drones, but police chiefs looking at how they can best utilize this technology. Ed, thanks for taking time with us this morning on WMAY. So, what do you know about the drone bill that could come up in either the House or the Senate? Good morning.
Good morning, Greg. Yeah, we hope that the drone bill comes up in a House committee today. And what this is just a small expansion of what is called the Freedom from Drone Surveillance Act. And you should be relieved, Greg, that it's called the Freedom from Drone Surveillance Act because everybody's concerned about people's privacy rights and constitutional rights and crazy intrusive spying as people are probably concerned about. But what this does, you have to remember that this is the third anniversary of that horrific shooting in Aurora at the manufacturing plant where five civilians were killed and five police officers were shot. And drones were used then, but what we discovered then was that there's some small things in the law that can be changed to make it more reasonable. For example, it's we want police to be able to use drones to find victims and with dispatch calls and identify the bad guys. Carjackings and shootings are up all over the state, and it's hard to track these people. And the public sentiment is that the police shouldn't be chasing these people anymore because it's dangerous to chase people either on foot or in the car. And so to have a little aerial view to try to find these people really is helpful, Greg.
As it is right now, law enforcement can use drones for certain things, right? Like vehicle accident investigations, for instance. Where are you guys in the law enforcement community currently under law prohibited from using drones?
Well, you can't just use them over private property. I mean, over nobody's private property. Can you just send up a drone and say we're gonna look at what's going on in their swimming pool or their backyard party and that sort of thing? And you can't just use them just for general surveillance, saying, "Oh, I wonder what's going on," at the intersection of Veterans and Wabash. Let's just take a look. You can't just send drones hither and yon because you're curious about something. It has to be in response to an accident or something like that, as you said.
So this particular legislation would still protect individuals' rights when it comes to unwarranted surveillance by use of drone, but would allow for more flexibility for law enforcement. Is that my understanding?
Yes, it would allow, as I said, for dispatch calls when you're trying to find the bad guys or you need to locate or assist victims. And Greg, another thing too is people are concerned about how people with a mental health condition on the street are responded to by law enforcement and by others. And one of the things that we're learning is that in certain situations where there may not be an immediate problem or no one in immediate danger, to have a drone observe a mentally disturbed person might be a little less intrusive than having a cop show up, and start shouting at a person, which, those situations do escalate at times. And so it can be used for monitoring and the safety of people.
Ed Wojcicki with us. He is with the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police on the WMAY morning news feed, now 747. I'm Greg Bishop. And Ed, we talked with State Representative LaShawn Ford and State Representative Brad Halbrook. Both talked about legislation concerning crime and punishment, criminal justice, police regulations. What do you anticipate happening this year with the legislative session ending April 8th? Is there going to be some changes brought to the Safety Act, for instance? It's one thing Republicans are calling for, but Democrats pushing against the idea of bringing any modifications. What is the law enforcement community looking for?
Well, I can tell you that what we want to do is we want to continue to see some minor tweaks of it. We're not with those who say we should just repeal that because we think that that train has left the station, and we're okay with some of the changes that are taking place. We want to be more transparent. We want more training for officers and so on. And so really some of those changes are for the public good. But we do expect to see some minor tweaks to that bill. But more important, Greg, is that there's a growing concern throughout the legislature in the increase in violence and in the increase in shooting. And I think you're going to see some anti-crime bills passed.
And as far as enhancing penalties, going after particular suspects with some more aggression, what do you anticipate happening there?
Well, you never know. In the House Judiciary Committee today, I tried counting, but I think it's more than 200
Yeah.
bills that they might be paying attention to.
I saw that too this morning when I grabbed my coffee. I'm looking at all the bills that could be considered, and it's just like I don't even know what they're going to bring up.
No, we don't know for sure, but we do think that there might be some enhanced penalties for carjackers. There might be some enhanced penalties for people who use guns when there are felons that go out and commit more crimes using guns. So there are some legitimate safety concerns that it's got everybody's attention now, and we're working with the legislature to try to come up with some things to make it a little bit easier to catch people. And interestingly, one of the things we've identified is that greater use of simple technology, license plate readers, is what I know Chief Winslow really wanted to get in Springfield. Just allow us to use a little more technology so that we can safely try to track down the bad guys.
Ed Wojcicki, the executive director of the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police, greatly appreciate you taking the time with us here on WMAY, and we'll connect again soon, okay? Be safe.
Sounds good. Thank you.
It is the